Dish Soap has overtaken Setsuko for the rank 1 spot in NA, and I want to start this video off by showing you the opener in the first game that we're going to take a look at. Okay, here it is. So you can see it's stage 1-4. He started Sword this game. He has GP pair with GP2 in shop, and then he has 2 Kales. So obviously you can't buy everything in this one turn, but just looking at this spot, considering how the meta is right now, I'm curious what you think Dish Soap slams in this spot. You can pause the video, take a second, and figure it out. Let me know if you think you know what it is. But what he slams is probably not what you think it is. Because, like most people, I'm looking at a spot and I'm thinking, okay, he has GP2, Kale 2. Okay, he just has the duelists. Now, obviously, depends on what augment you get. But from this spot, I'm thinking, okay, it's just like a Deathblade Runeans type of deal. BT is normally not always like the best slam. But after looking at his augments, of course it's not like a pigeonhole duelist augment, but it's also not an augment that pigeonholes you into anything else. But he goes ahead and he slams BT and decides to play around sword.
I'm gonna do a double BT bug. Cause yeah, currently it is bugged and it is kind of good. Cause it's like bugged to give like double shields, because if you like, I forgot how it works, but if you like proc the shield and then heal back up, you get like you get like 2 double shields or something. That's what I was trying to do last game with the mech. I just didn't get another BT, so yeah.
Okay, so apparently I think he was gonna go for BT and play around sword normally, but then he wanted to try and figure out exactly how this BT bug works. So this was like a good spot to go for it. So when he takes the cloak off of the carousel to go for double BT, it's because he's like trying to figure out this interaction. And I don't think it happens in this round, but the round after. Yeah, right here, sorry. So on 2-6, it's able to double proc, and you can see the bug that he's talking about go off. So if you don't know, BT gives you a shield at 40% max health, and you can see the shield proc right there. Since he has 2 BTs, it procs, but then you can see there's another shield that gets procced. So apparently when you have 2 BTs, the BT health, like the BT shield double procs, like it should normally, but then it procs a second time, which that is like the bug in question that he's like talking about. Okay, so now we get to see the second augment of the game, the hero augment. And there's another interesting decision here. So watching this back, the explanation for scouting right here is he's looking to see how much of the lobby is AD or AP, because that's going to determine whether or not he takes the channeled Ferromancy or not. And so you might be thinking, okay, well, he has duelists. Why would he even like consider taking channeled Ferromancy? Well, he also has like the defenders, and the double like BT is most effective when used on a mech. So he was considering having, like 2 to 4 mechs with a mech set. And then if he plays, Rel as one of the defenders, then there's like a consideration for him to actually have Rel on his board. But he looks and he sees that like what most people playing is not AP or is not AD. It's like mixed, or it's like mostly AP. So he's not going to be in a spot where he wants to play, any more than just 2 defenders in the first place. And then another thing to note is that Vitality of the Ox is seen as like a pretty good augment when you're playing vertical duelists, but he doesn't even consider it because, with his current item, like with how his current items are, he's not going to be playing vertical duelists. Like items are obviously really important as well, and like in a part of comps and whatnot. And double BT redemption is not an item like or not items that you can utilize in a vertical duelist comp. So he just takes the Yasuo for the reason that it's like strong on his board right now, and he can actually play around that later in the game. Another thing to note is in the last round he took Spirit of the Exile, and like this player is currently rank 1, right? He took Spirit of the Exile and he forgot to declump his front line, so his Gangplank was not even getting the 25% attack speed bonus from the Spirit of the Exile augment. So basically, if you're sitting at home right now and you're thinking, and you like caught on to that after he did that, and you're thinking, I have like no chance of getting to plat or diamond or masters or whatever your goal is, just like take that into consideration because even rank 1 is, prone to making mistakes and stuff like that. Okay, so he went for cloak on carousel to try and get Runans, but he was forced to go chain. And so yeah, like this is another reason why the BT bug is, it's not that egregious because I mean, looking at this guy's items right now, you're probably thinking, what in the heck is he going to play? Because like realistically, like what is he going to play? But you'll see pretty soon that he busts out this comp that you may have seen like on PBE or something, but you haven't seen on ladder in a while. And he plays around it like pretty perfectly. He's his strong suit as a player is that he definitely knows exactly how to, like play around everything. If you've been watching the fights, you can see the BT double proc again. It's pretty consistent. It happens basically every time. Also, if you're curious about, how these high level players think, he literally had a Vi 2 for free in his shop. But since he has no other upgraded bruisers, no Aegis, no reason to play this Vi, and he's prepping units that he wants to like continue playing on his board, he doesn't even consider losing Econ to play a Vi 2 over even like a Wukong 1. And I think he missed out on like this Wukong on his bench has max prep stacks, and the Wukong in the on the board I don't think does have max prep stacks. So there's still also, yeah, like a lot of little things that you can improve on, but he's obviously thinking about like long-term strategy and stuff like that right now. So he's gonna miss out on like the tiny micro things. Yeah, you can see the Wukong that's in right now, fully prepped. But what is he looking for currently? Still open to playing AD or AP, but he doesn't know exactly which one yet because he has no clear direction. Also, this is a dish sub special where he kind of rolls on wolves. You can often see him rolling on these like the PvE rounds because again, even though that he's rank 1, he is not like some robot that knows like everything. Like looking at his spot, it's really hard to understand exactly like, which direction he should be taking. So he chose to make the decision to just roll slight on wolves, maybe sack like a couple interest gold, but to guarantee that he has like, to make it a lot easier to understand what direction he should be taking for the game. So he now has Ace Soul Pair. He also has preparation, so you're more incentivized to like, roll to like prep units. But yeah, I mean from this spot, I think a lot of people would not know what to do. other dish soap classic is that doesn't like settling for like, options that are like decent. You look at his like previous augments here, Radiant Relics could be good because it could also give him like more clear direction. He has like a lot of items, but none of them are explicitly AD or AP. So if he gets like a Radiant item and it's like Radiant, specifically an AD item or an AP item, then that can like help him get more direction. And then Implants is not like bad. He did get a tome off of Krugs or a tome off of Wolves, so he does have like an extra item. But he's looking at these and he's thinking none of them are like especially insane or like help his game plan in any like immediate way. So he just chooses a reroll. I mean, you have the reroll, you might as well use it. So pretty sure he was thinking about whether or not it made sense to get like another mech crest, but there's there's just no reason to. He already can get 5 mech with just as simple jacks, and his game plan is to play around 4 ace, so he wants this Draven in. There's no reason to drop the Draven. There's not really a reason to drop the Wukong. He wants, Defender with set pair, so there's no reason to actually have 5 mech. Like, I think a lot of people would also look at that decision and think, like, oh, I'm playing around mech, so, like, you just choose 5 mech. But also, he would get Titans from a mech crown, which he can't really use because he already has 3 item jacks. I mean, 3 item set. And so he just chooses the generally good augment that is going to give him benefit no matter what in Stand United. So he has the Draven, dropping the MF, and he gets another BT from just like naturaling the items on his drop. And so he chooses to make triple BT set, mech set. And so if you thought that 2 BTs was like bug abusing, it was like crazy because you get the double proc. Well, guess what happens when you have 3 BTs? That's right. 1 proc, 2 procs, 3 procs. With 3 BTs, you get 3 times the BT shield 3 times. I will tell you right now that that is obviously not intended, but he's trying to win the game, and he's just playing what Word Dog gave him. Okay, so let's think about again. He doesn't have any clear direction. He needs damage items. He really does not want any more cloaks or chains or belts. So yeah, he wanted the sword anyways. GS is one of the best items in the meta right now. You do not know 2-star threats are in GS range. So if you're thinking in previous sets, like slamming GS was like dumb in the early game because you're like losing out on most of the benefit with like the damage increase. Well, this set, there's a lot of times where you run into 4 brawler boards or like upgraded threat boards on stage 3. So slamming GS is like almost never a bad option. And also, of course, all these Yumi boards. If someone gets Galio 3 or Nasus 3 super early, yeah, those units are in GS range as well. And so even with this like pretty strong Yumi board with Dish Soap's like random amalgamation of like units that he's just rolled down for on level 7, he was still almost able to beat this like pretty well put together Yumi board. And I will say this Yumi, I mean, predatory precision, the Yumi had only Shiv, but he had like upgraded frontline. And he also only has a set 1. He's he's sacking the Yasuo. It's pretty smart to put the mech spat on the Yasuo because he's probably going to have Yasuo in for most of the game or for the entire game because he wants the value from Spirit of the Exile. So he never has to like worry about wanting to drop this Yasuo when, especially as soon as he makes it a mech. And he can always like if he wants the Yasuo for like the CC or for something for some reason, he can always just sack like a Jax. He makes a Jax, or he can always just sack the Draven if he really wanted to. So again, continuation of the theme. He has GS, but he has no. He'll have no clue if he's playing AD or AP. Okay, so in this spot, he's trying to prep his units. He doesn't need to prep the set because I'm pretty sure he's planning on leveling and rolling next turn. So there's a good chance he's going to hit set 2, especially since set is like the most uncontested 4 cost in the game right now. And then he was considering prepping the Vayne, but he really did not want it to lose because without he basically has like no unit that does damage. Okay, so he pops the tome, and there's a few choices that he could have gone with, but he decides to go with glove because I'm pretty sure he's going to be making AG. So it's always fun looking at high level players' thought processes on roll downs. But on this roll down, pretty clear that you can kind of see that he was just looking for threats. Threats and just strong units, like fiddlesticks. Slams stone plate on Urgot because I think he's planning on selling it. And now that this is a set too, he actually like does some pretty crazy damage. And since he's getting the triple BT shield, I don't know what number he's on right now. Maybe he went through all 3 shields already, but overtime set, look at that 9k. Rolling down, he's looking for uh upgraded aces. Wait, what have I saying threats this whole game? He's looking to play 4 ace, not 4 threat. Yeah, he has 4 ace right now, but he chooses not to play it because I mean just like look at his threats. There's actually like a few reasons why. One of the main reasons is because he if he were to play vertical ace, then he would have to drop this Urgot, and he wants to farm a little bit more with Urgot. He got this belt from Urgot, and so he wants to farm at least one more component because he's not going to get any more individual components. That's like one reason. The second reason is, upgraded units are normally better, and an upgraded Vayne 2 is often better than, like a bunch of 1-star threats, especially if you'd have to remove like fiddlesticks and stuff like that. But now he just he just hits a Mord 2 on level 8. Um so yeah, Mord 2 obviously, I mean you can't not play a Mord 2, right? And so yeah, the third reason is that he has preparation. So he was down to, sack or like not play 4 ace immediately because he wants to prep some of his ace units. And then you can also tell how much he like understands like how much he's lacking on damage because you're thinking like you should just itemize a Mord 2, like it's a Mordekaiser 2 versus an MF1. The thing is that he has no Samira items. He has no like he just has no like main DPS. If you were to give like the JG and the GS to this Mordekaiser, like it'd probably be better right now because it would do like way more damage. But Mordekaiser is not like that good as like a carry, right? He does like a good amount of damage, and then he has the MR shred. Um, but unless you're like completely one tapping boards with Mordekaiser, you probably shouldn't be like using. carry. And then he wanted the MF pair, and then he naturals the MF to get the MF2. And Morello being an MF kind of sucks because he already has this ASOL, but it's just more AP, and because Morello gives you bonus AP, and he's down to just make like a three item AP carry. Oh, didn't even matter if he would have scouted here because the guy with the blitz grab got it from Raider spoils. That kind of sucks when that happens. Yeah, dish soap is he's definitely a complainer, so you can imagine how unhappy he was for that to happen. But fourth threat is pretty busted, and he still wins the round even with his main carry literally getting pulled by blitz. Not much round. Jax player. There's only 5 more players in the lobby. Like Jax player, Kaisa threat player, and maybe even like another Jax player. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, just seeing those BT shields go off. Could you imagine if you get regenerative shields, the set or the set support augment with triple BT? You would get the 9 shields from the BT's triple procking, and then those all would get procced again with regenerative shield. So if you had like a triple BT set, regenerative shield, I'm pretty sure you would get like 18 shields that would like never die. Another interesting decision. You might be looking at this and you might be thinking like, okay, I want like a carry item for Samira because that's like another threat. But realistically, he has what Samira 1, I think, still, and he has a Mordekaiser 3. So no matter what your item is here, you want the item to be going on Mordekaiser. Like you want to fully itemize your your 2-star 5 cost unit that's like fully prepped. And the best item for Mord here he determined was Gunblade, so he just Gunblade Mord. Also, you can see his traits right now: 4 ace, 1 corrupted, 3 mech, 2 threat. He has prismatic stand united. Just goes to show that you want you want to prioritize your board strength versus um augment strength, sort of. Like this is just his strongest board by far. Stand United is going to give him benefit, like no matter how many traits he has. So he just wants to make sure he plays his strongest board, prioritizing that over the extra few AD and AP get for your traits. And I mean, even though it's 4 traits, like it still goes a long way because I think Prismatic Stand is like 3.5. So that times 4 is what, 14 or something? 14, 80, and AP for your whole team, especially when you're 4 threats. It's like pretty important. Like it's a pretty big deal getting like any number of AD and AP for units like MF, Mordekaiser, Set, Samira, even like Fiddle and Asol benefit from that. And 4 ace boards are so fun to watch. They literally just so yeah. I looked at this game on and I saw this on his lol chest and I looked at his items and I was thinking, oh, how is this possible that this is a first? But after like watching the game, you can kind of understand because he's abusing the like BT bug, so his set is a lot tankier than you might think. And then like with preparation and stand united, his MF is just like so strong that like it's actually just like wiping boards. Dish soap is just infallible. In a meta filled with Jax, Yumi, and threats, he goes to show you that if you really are the better player, you can make anything work. And that's exactly what I wanted to show you with a video like this. I'll definitely be doing more in the future. And as always, in order to pursue my vast collection of knowledge, you must subscribe. Let me know in the comments who your favorite player is, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya.